AITA for kicking my girlfriend out after she called me a crybaby for crying over my deceased niece? I don't even know where to start. I met my now ex-girlfriend 4 years ago in college. Until now, she seemed like the kind of woman I'd want to marry. Extremely kind, genuine, and generally a joy to be around. My older sister and her husband had a daughter at the beginning of our relationship. I couldn't have been happier to be an uncle. She was the most adorable thing in the world to me. I tried to be that cool uncle for her and always made time for her. My sister often brought her over to my place so I could babysit when she had something to do. As far as I knew, my girlfriend also seemed to get along with her and didn't mind babysitting her with me. The best moment I shared with her was when my sister showed me a drawing my niece made of me in kindergarten. I was literally on the verge of tears seeing it. A year ago, my world fell apart when my sister called me crying. That phrase still echoes in my head from time to time. She told me that my niece had been diagnosed with leukemia. To say I was devastated would be an understatement. This past year has been really hard for all of us. I spent most of my free time at the hospital with my sister and brother-in-law. Seeing that poor girl with all those tubes connected to her truly broke my heart. I regularly brought balloons and made balloon animals for her. I learned how to make those while working at a carnival when I was young. As a result, I spent less time with my girlfriend. She seemed to understand until the cancer got worse. From Saturday to Sunday, I was either at the hospital or drinking myself to sleep. One day, my girlfriend just ignored me on our 3rd anniversary. I bought her flowers, a cake, and made her a card. She, on the other hand, didn't get me anything. I pressed her about it, and that's when she said something that was probably a sign of what was to come. She just told me, "Well, it doesn't seem like you care, so why should I get something for someone who cares more about a child who's going to die anyway?" I don't know what she was expecting. In short, I threatened to kick her out and tell everyone, including my sister, who is a close friend of hers, what she had just told me. She apologized and told me she wasn't thinking straight and that something like that would never happen again. I eventually forgave her, and we moved on. My niece passed away last week, and it's been the worst time of my life. I've basically been crying myself to sleep every night and spending a lot of time with my sister to console her. Something that caught me off guard, though, was that my girlfriend seemed a little too happy about the news of her passing. She just smiled and said, "I'm so happy she isn't suffering anymore and is in a much better place now," with a big grin on her face. Yesterday, I overheard her talking with a friend over the phone. I had just come home from work, and I guess she didn't hear me walk in. I just heard, "A real man wouldn't cry unless it was his child dying." That caught me off guard, and I kept listening. She said more awful things about me being a crybaby and how I shouldn't be so attached to a kid who isn't mine, and so on. I coughed loudly to get her attention, and I just saw the color drain from her face. She tried the whole "let me explain" bit, and I just told her to pack what she needed and that I'd call her dad to pick her up. After a solid hour of begging, she finally gave up and packed her things into a suitcase. Before leaving, she tried to spit at me but ended up spitting on herself. Her mom called me a few hours later, begging me to give her a second chance. I know I shouldn't have said this, but I just told her to go screw herself and her mentally unstable daughter. I basically finished off half a bottle of Jack Daniels that night and went to bed. Today, I woke up to messages from my sister. She told me that my ex had told her everything that happened and that she understood why I kicked her out but asked me to consider giving her a second chance. She told me my ex seemed sincere in her apology. She asked what Lily would want, my niece. Not gonna lie, that kinda broke me. My niece loved my girlfriend and would always run to her and ask her to play Barbie with her. I feel like I shouldn't be upset if my sister forgave her, but at the same time, it hurts that she called me a crybaby. Before the diagnosis, I had never really cried in front of her, and her comments deeply hurt me. I feel like I can never open up to anyone again, let alone her. Am I being irrational here? Should I forgive her? AITA, edit. I just want to thank all of you. Seeing how my story touched so many people truly means the world to me. I originally posted here to get another perspective on how I could have handled things better and whether I was being irrational for kicking my ex out. I couldn't bring this up to my family for obvious reasons, and I have a friend who posted on this subreddit about something similar, and he told me he received some not-so-great advice but also tons of great advice. I'm so glad I chose to post here. The amount of messages I've received is overwhelming. I want to thank those who shared their personal experiences and ways of dealing with grief with me. I apologize for taking so long to respond to messages. I've received over 100 messages to date. I want to give each message the same care you all showed me. I've received several screenshots of people donating to leukemia research charities, and I'm truly beyond grateful. I don't deserve any of this. The past 48 hours have definitely been some of the darkest and bleakest of my life. You all have helped me so much. I wish there were a way to thank you all personally, but I'd be here until the end of time doing so. I'll post an update as soon as I'm off the alcohol, and my family and I are in a better place mentally. I owe it to you all. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Red Heart.